Number 1. How would you reconcile the advantages and disadvantages that GMO brings to humans? So, to reconcile from the word itself, genetically modified organism just modified only the disadvantages that the organism naturally brings. Scientists must prioritize first the disadvantages of the experiment and maybe use the advantages of the organism to lessen the disadvantages. GMO has a lot of advantages for humans because we are the one who created it and the one who beneficial from it. But we don't know what the truly the side effects within this GMO. And that's the disadvantages it can cause imbalance in nature that it only expect natural phenomenon. Not GMO also in order creature, also as humans. It may be beneficial to us in first, but I'm sure there are long-term side effects in this GMO. The development of genetically modified organisms has infected humans both positive and negative ways. To reconcile the advantages and disadvantages that GMO brings to humans, I think GMO should be used more on humans' activities like business production or non-food related items and not for human consumption. GMO should be more focused on developing ways to make humans' activities more efficient and not on making synthetic foods which might possibly cause humans to be more susceptible in diseases due to the unknown effects of GMO in the body, since the study did not still reach its peak development. Number 2. When do you think should the pursuit of GMO research stop? I think the pursuit of GMO research should not stop and should be continuous because GMO has really a lot of benefits to humans as well as the development in agricultural and farming industries. And the one disadvantages to this is the uncertainty of its long-term effects to the humans and the environmental and with that is must to really have a deep knowledge to GMO products, which means it needs a lot of research and more deep analysis to the GMO products as we know that world is advancing and change cannot be stopped. Research is never ending process. It has been already done by humans and long before. For me, the pursuit of GMO research should never stop since we already have been using it nowadays without even fully knowing all the effects it may have caused in humans and in the environment. We have to continue. Number 3. What are the nanomaterials and how are they made? Nanomaterials can be defined as materials processing at minimum one external dimension measuring 1 to 100 nanomaterials. The definition given by the European Commission state that the particle size of the least half of the particles in the number size distribution must measure 100 nanomaterials or below. Nanomaterials can occur naturally, be created as the byproducts of confusion reaction, or be produced purposefully through engineering to perform specialized function. These materials can be have different physical and chemical properties to their back from counterparts. There are two main production processes for nanomaterials. The first is top-down manufacturing. This method starts with large pieces of material. Chemical and physical processes break it down until the desired nanomaterial exists. Depending on the substance, these processes can be relatively simple. Some metal nanoparticles, for example, can be ground down from microparticles with the right equipment. The second round of manufacturing processes is bottom-up manufacturing. This method begins with single atoms or molecules. These use chemical and physical processes to join them together into useful nanostructures. Bottom-up approaches typically create the most unique and powerful nanomaterials but are more complicated than the top-down processes. Number 4. What are the factors that need to be considered before manufacturing materials through nanotechnology? You begin with the market problem, including a technical challenge and a traditional solution. And then you ask, could you nanotechnology help? And the answer might be either yes or no. Recognize the right causality and reality. Nanotechnology is not a source or a solution in a quest of a problem. Rather, it is the problem in search of a source.